So, liebe Leute von heute, da sind wir jetzt also wieder hier zurück in der Wüste von Genshin Impact für die PlayStation 4, wo wir jetzt als nächstes, ihn da verfolgen müssen, um dann zu erfahren, wo ist denn jetzt der Cyrus abgeblieben. Für weitere Informationen, lesen wir hier. Cyrus' ungewöhnliche Situation versetzt alle in helle Aufregung, sodass Cyno ihm allein folgt. Als die guten Freunde, die ihr nun mal seid, würdet du, Paimon und Tainari niemals tatenlos dabei zusehen, wenn er in Schwierigkeiten gerät. Jo, daher sind wir, jetzt hier hingegangen, vom Karawanenribat aus hier in die Wüste hin, haben seine Spur aufgenommen, haben, dann schon mal erfahren, dass er in irgendeiner Verbindung mit dem Tempel des Schweigens in Verbindung steht. Und ja, diesen besonderen Jungen da drüben, den kennen wir sowieso auch schon aus dem Livestream. Ein Mann, ein Junge namens Sethos. Doch wie er, Cyno und Cyrus insgeheim miteinander verbunden sind, das müssen wir, noch erfahren. Also folgen wir ihn jetzt erstmal zu einer alten Ruine, wo es dann am Ende sicherlich zu einigen Kämpfen jetzt auch mal kommen wird.
And here.
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing here.
Please step back.
Whoa, something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
Ein Tempel von Hermanubis.
And how was it so well hidden? King Deshret's technology?
Wait, so... Hold on, who are you guys really?
Is this the Temple of Silence? So you're a member?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them later.
Wir nähern uns also, wie es aussieht, jetzt wirklich dem Höhepunkt des Legendenauftrages an. Betritt das mysteriöse Gebiet. Betreten wir den Tempel des Schweigens. Interessanterweise wieder mal ein bisschen anders als erwartet. Ich hätte jetzt gedacht, hier würde ja auch jetzt auch noch eine Levelbegrenzung oder ein Level angegeben werden. Aber ganz offensichtlich läuft das Ganze hier ein bisschen anders ab.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis.
Stimmt, das hatte irgendwie schon mehr was von einem Tempel an sich.
Oh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is the guy Raka met in the tavern?
Jo.
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything you might regret.
Me too. Hope I haven't done anything to incur your wrath.
Tja, sprich mit der geheimnisvollen Person. Weiter vor uns. Die Atmosphäre gefällt mir aber sehr gut. Und ich glaube, genau das Bildnis hier haben wir auch auf dem Briefpapier gesehen. Mit hoher Wahrscheinlichkeit.
Alright, you can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes to greet you.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended? Maybe we're not being kidnapped after all.
They can't have been at the oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here, they were obviously counting on us showing up.
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hid themselves here?
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call for you soon.
What's your name?
Bitte verrate uns wenigstens, wie wir dich nennen sollen.
Sorry, guess I was so delighted to see you, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions. Other than that, you can occupy yourselves however you see fit.
So we're free to explore by ourselves.
Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about you running off. Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood, you're all quite anxious to see him again.
He's right. Well, if we've got some time, we might as well take a look around.
Ja gut. Schauen wir uns ein bisschen im Tempel des Schweigens um. Naja, oder auch nicht. Warte kurz und sprich dabei mit den Leuten. Also sehr viel zu entdecken hier. Haben wir also nicht. Es mag so vielleicht, er sagt, noch 2 Wege nach links und rechts geben. Aber ich glaube, die sind jetzt wohl nicht relevant.
I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like this. We've passed through these parts before, but never noticed anything.
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous. Amazing to think that it's been preserved intact all this time.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point, we can be confident that the professor is safe and sound. So that's something.
Gut, und was hast du zu sagen, Sethos?
Hey, Sethos! Have you got some time to chat?
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have questions for me? I don't blame you. Anyone else would.
Es gibt also viele Leute, die dir Fragen stellen.
Not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors.
Also, du warst es, der Uraka hereingelegt hat, stimmt's?
Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking everyone in the tavern about ways to make some easy money. He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it broke the law. So, I told him that Cyrus had embezzled a large sum of mora from the desert.
So you framed Cyrus for a crime that he did not commit?
No. That's not entirely true. Let me jog your memory. The letter just said that he had uncovered Cyrus's secret. It didn't say what secret that was.
Hast du ihm geraten, das so zu formulieren?
Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told. And not much of an original thinker, though. It doesn't surprise me that he struggles academically.
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received the letter?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. Certain things I can't answer for him. I'm neither judging nor defending him. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem, and it was his own choice to take the bait.
Kennst du Cyno?
What kind of question is that? He's the General Mahamatra. Everyone in Sumeru knows who he is.
Right, but back at the Oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure, or you wouldn't have asked him. So, what we're really asking is, have you never seen him in person before?
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say I've never had the pleasure.
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy's not being straight with us?
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to look forward to.
Gut, nächste Frage. Warst du jemals in der Akademie?
Nope, not once.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, we're well aware of what goes on at that place.
Willst du damit sagen, dass es in der Stadt Spione gibt?
Spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Anyone's free to walk in. You can find out all you need to know just by walking around town and hearing the word on the street.
Tja, das war schon alles, was ich wissen wollte.
Mhm. Ah, here he is.
Das ist eine Sie. Haben auf jeden Fall ziemlich viele Bücher hier.
Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence. I know why you are here, and I thank you for your patience. Bring him out.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. We had to find a way to bring him back to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago, but now, the time has come to demand payment.
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me, but you got here so quickly. Just leave, Cyno. This is a matter between us two old men. You're all too young to get involved.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and throw us off your trail.
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you do. You shouldn't have come. That alone brought the others.
Cyno didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you telling us the truth. Otherwise, it seems a little unfair on everyone who had to stay behind.
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to light can only lead to misfortune.
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students you nurtured as if they were your own children. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. Indeed, you all but became one of us. You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt convicted you. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might and the wielder of his power. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
The moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan, and one shrouded in secrecy. The Temple of Silence had been bereft of Hermanubis for too long. The strength of its faith and its warriors were waning. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within the vessel. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. In the end, Bamoon offered his own adoptive grandson. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope for hosting Hermanubis' power.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, they were exceedingly rare treasures. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean that they were suitable vessels. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite smoothly for both candidates. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the 1st round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time and compare their effects. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate and be gone from the world for good. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed out of the question. To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for your betrayal ever since. I have always wanted to see you, Cyno. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us a devastating blow. We've been in decline ever since you left.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, In essence, I borrowed your bar fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking justice. If you want to take my life, then so be it. I'm an old man now anyway. But you cannot lift a finger against Cyno. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Academia.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Cyno, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when we all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord. You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
That power is not yours to reclaim. Cyno was chosen by the gods. You cannot take what they have bestowed.
You are wrong. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one. My child, Sethos, has the same gift as he.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned. And now I must take responsibility for the decision I made back then.
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know that Sethos would be able to withstand it?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear. And your objections mean little, given that you turned your back on us long ago.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a terrible idea. However...
Don't listen to him, Cyno. That power is no more yours to give than it is his to take. You have to understand.
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then... there is nothing to debate.
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that Cyno refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the table. Then we can have a discussion.
Wait, those ears. So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Splendid. Fate smiles upon us after all.
Also, vom Valukashuna haben wir jetzt sogar auch zum ersten Mal gehört. Bisschen mehr Erklärung, bitte?
Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Okay, der ist jetzt doch ein bisschen durchgeknallt und sehr krank anscheinend. Kein Wunder, dass er jetzt ausgerechnet Cyno zurückhaben will. Und das Fragment seines Gottes.
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like he's in really bad shape.
Tja, Bamuns Zustand ist kritisch. Er muss sich viel abverlangt haben, um stark zu erscheinen. Auch seine Sehkraft scheint ihn zu verlassen, sonst hätte er Tainaris Ohren sofort bemerkt.
Bamun, you...
Take our leader back to his room.
Sethos, you must...
Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. Leave this in my hands. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to have an inflated sense of self. But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at its prestige and changed things almost beyond recognition. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his chance once. And now I'm giving the rest of you yours.
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. Reminds me a lot of Bamoon in his younger years. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. You've been to the city yourself. I'm sure you've seen that much has changed for the better. And things will only continue to improve. Why not consider cooperating with the academia once more?
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion. But it's a bit too late for that now, Cyrus.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than this, and I agree. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. And that's how it was always going to be. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious consideration.
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later. Give me one night to make my decision.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to hear your verdict, Cyno. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus, so I'll be escorting him back now.
Are you sure about negotiating with him?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight. Until then, take some time for yourself.
Alright, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Cyno. If you need any help working things out, just come and find us.
Ja gut, dann kommen wir jetzt auf jeden Fall zum Höhepunkt dieses Legendenauftrages. Ein Weiser unter den Weisen. Warte bis zum Abend 20 bis 24 Uhr und wenn ich jetzt hier bei den Aufträgen mal gucke, dann müsste jetzt auf jeden Fall Urgestein dabei sein, oder? Nein, immer noch nicht. Okay, dann scheint das Ganze jetzt doch ein bisschen länger zu gehen als erwartet, aber was soll's. Wo genau wir jetzt warten müssen, steht der Sack jetzt nicht so ganz fest, wie ich finde. Aber es kann auf jeden Fall nicht schaden, hier die Zeit verstreichen zu lassen. Denn hier wird dann sowieso auch eine Entscheidung gefällt.
Where do you want to go next? If you'd like to see Liyue's tourist spots, I have a few references.
Gut, dann sprechen wir doch mal mit unseren Kameraden, wo auch immer die jetzt hier stehen. Die Gruppe trifft sich zur vereinbarten Zeit wieder.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches and fevers as a child. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was Hermanubis' way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way.
Es muss doch einen anderen Weg geben.
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the Temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of nobility. Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them.
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we win this.
Hört sich gut an, finde ich.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to take a look at his grandfather's condition.